Relationship Tea with Tina, and we are here for our second segment of Pop Culture with Paige.
Love it.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. I always start out every episode that I am interviewing somebody with what are you watching, listening to, or reading lately. Last time we heard what you were reading. Okay, so what are we watching? What are we listening to? I'm rewatching The OC for anybody that cares.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh.
I know.
I am finally watching Love on the Spectrum. Yes.
You are?
Finally. I'm on season 2. It's so good. I'm literally obsessed.
So good. Please, thank you for finally watching it.
It's so good. I
so
just
good.
can't. I think I'm like 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
I know.
And then also gonna start rewatching more of my Bravo. I think I'm gonna do Southern Charm. And then obviously Vanderpump Rules.
I
Real
had to
Housewives.
stop with Bravo for a minute. I think that I was honestly getting too in my head with the Bravo stuff.
Yeah.
I have to be very careful about the type of content I consume. Now listen, you know that I will scroll TikTok all day long. Okay, that's different.
Right.
I found myself maybe I could redo it now that I worked on a lot of healing within myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I was comparing myself hard fucking core to people on Bravo and the Real Housewives, and I was like, oh my god, my
Which is
life.
interesting. More than you do on TikTok?
For some reason, yeah.
Huh.
I obviously compare myself to people on TikTok, but I've done a very good job at curating my For You page, to being what I want it to be sometimes, and then a lot of the times it's business type of stuff, and that gets in my head. But I'm not afraid to unfollow. I'm not afraid to mute people that are fucking me up in the mind. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I love the mute. Love the mute.
I have to.
Yeah.
I really fucking have to. I don't care who it is.
Right. Yeah. They don't know.
They don't know.
And what they don't know will kill them.
Exactly. But I don't know. The Bravo verse was really hard for me
Interesting.
to keep watching.
Interesting.
I know.
I feel like sometimes the reason I can keep watching it is because usually on those shows you see their lowest of the low.
That's true. That's
and
true.
you're
it can't be worse.
I'm doing pretty good when you're comparing to them.
I know. Maybe I can rewatch it. The only show on Bravo that I do still watch is Below Deck.
Which I've never watched.
Really?
Not for any reason.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten into it.
I mean,
but I would love to watch it.
It's not bad. It's just a bunch of debauchery.
Right. They all are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to watch that one. I do.
I know. But I think that as we're talking about Bravoverse. Wait, first, Love on the Spectrum. Oh, yeah. I just have to go back to it really quickly because that show has my heart. It really actually has my heart.
So
because
good.
In terms of relationships, I just have to touch on it's the honesty for me. And I know it's I wish that us that weren't on the spectrum had the ability to be as authentic and real as some of these people are on this show.
Yeah. They just say what they feel, mean what they say, put it all out there.
Yep.
And it's literally the sweetest thing in the whole world. They don't judge. They I don't. It's
I know it's not easy, but at the same time, Abby and David's love.
Oh my god,
I just love them so much. I just love them so much.
It's so cute.
Wait till you get to the last episode of season 2.
Yeah,
it's gonna melt your little heart if it
God.
hasn't already.
Okay.
Danny, I love her.
Oh, I love Danny.
I love Danny.
Her.
Second season, and Tanner, he is just the light we all need in our lives.
I am obsessed with him.
I know.
He's the one that's are my eyebrows?
Yeah.
I
know.
I've never loved someone more.
I know. And I think Connor, his mom, and his relationship are just... I love them. Yeah. I just love them so much.
They're really sweet.
She's just so cool.
She is.
Such a cool mom.
She's the definition of cool mom.
Exactly. Okay, love them. Love them. Bravoverse, though.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Ozempic today.
Yeah, we sure are.
I know.
The topic on everybody's lips.
Body image.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of body image, we had recorded a video when we did our first episode, and I was rewatching the playback, and I was like, I look so fat.
But she doesn't.
But I feel like we're just so ingrained to pick ourselves apart.
Yeah.
And if we don't look stick thin, it's something's wrong with us.
Right.
And I had to take a step back and be like, but that's my body just doing what my body is doing because I'm sitting down in a chair.
Exactly.
And I'm wearing leggings.
Exactly.
I don't know.
If I didn't have a sweater on, it would be doing the exact same thing.
I know, but I feel like we've kind of reached this, like, place in pop culture and our lives where skinny is being shoved down our throats again.
It's giving 1990s or whatever the era was.
Early 2000s.
Stick thin, Victoria's Secret fashion show, toxicity.
Like, ED almost.
Right.
Like, I remember growing up in the early 2000s and, like, I was a kid. I was a freaking child, okay? And I felt like I was fat because I, like, had to wear, like, these tiny skinny jeans with a zipper that was, like, this big at the time. And then everyone around us, like, hip bones were protruding and showing. And there's nothing wrong with being skinny. That is not what this is about.
No.
It's about kind of just, like, how people are now taking drugs to become
Quite literally
that skinny. It's, like, not, like, a natural type of thing. It's not trying to be healthy. It's literally you are chemically altering your body, which is then chemically altering our minds, like you and me and everybody else on social media, to consistently be picking ourselves apart.
Yeah.
I mean, I've struggled with my body image for a very long time.
Oh, same. Every day. Probably always will. But that's just, I mean, I think it's part of being a girl. It's part of being immersed in culture, social media.
Yeah.
I think, like, I would bet if people asked, like, women our age, what would you tell yourself in high school now knowing what you know or whatever in your new mind, older? And I think a lot of women would say, you thought you were fat then.
I know.
You weren't fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number one thing.
100%. 100%. And I think that it's like the Ozempic thing really bugs me for some reason.
Yeah.
It just really bugs me because you have the handful of people who are just like, yeah, I'm on it and I'm owning it. And that's what it is. But I don't know what's worse. Okay, you own it and you're owning it and you're like, I have access to $1,000 a week or a month or whatever the F it is to literally inject my body with something that people actually need this drug for. To look skinny. And then you have people who vie for kind of like what we talked about on our last episode. You admire these celebrities, you admire these people, and you're like, well, if they're doing that, I need to be doing that too.
Right. Yeah.
And then you start to get in your head, well, I can't afford that. How am I going to do that? And then we go into, like, very unhealthy territories. Exactly. And then you have the people who are probably on it, but aren't admitting that they're on it.
I hate it. Yeah.
I know. So who do we know that is on it? Let's just say. Okay, we've got Oprah, who also once, if I'm correct, if not maybe wrong, was someone who would advocate for, like, body positivity.
She would, because did Oprah do Weight Watchers?
She was
or am I making that up?
No, I feel like that sounds familiar. That she was like a Weight Watchers type of commercial.
Right, which, that's promoting weight loss, but in a healthy way. It's the whole thing of Weight Watchers was you can eat what you want while getting to your goals.
Right.
It wasn't advocating to be stick thin. It wasn't, taking a drug to
get to where you
want
to get to.
So there's Oprah, Kelly
Clarkson. I was disappointed by that one.
Me too. I think it's tough because she's in the spotlight so much.
I know.
It also, I feel like she lost the weight very quickly. It seemed like 0 to 100.
Yeah. Because a lot of it was in her face, and that's what we saw most happen.
That's true.
And then, like, every Bravo star.
Right.
Like, every fucking housewife is on it, more or less. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
But then I feel like that opens the door for people who do actually need that drug, who aren't receiving it. I mean, you've struggled with body image. I know how I've navigated it, but how have you navigated it?
I mean, I feel like I'm still trying to figure that out.
I think we all are.
Yeah. Like, I think I do a lot of fasting, which is, like, something that I introduced into my life, I guess, a couple years ago, 3 years ago now. And it has been the one thing that has given me success. And it's interesting because it is tied to like the insulin resistance. I can't talk a lot about the science. I am not a doctor, but I talk with doctors about it.
Right.
They guide me through fasting. I think for me, it's tough for me to talk about with other people because it's a form of not eating. So it's very much like you have to be careful, of who you're triggering, who you're talking to about it. Yeah.
And I told you it was triggering for me one day because, like, I've never struggled with, like, disordered eating to, like, a huge level of an extent. But, like, if I am being honest, like, I have had very small bouts of chapters where, like, I've gone through disordered type of treating my body not correctly. Yeah. Like, I went through a phase where I was, like, taking Adderall to be skinny when I, like, first left Kyle, and I was like, I don't even know who I am. I was trying to, like, heal myself and heal the relationship with myself and heal from that traumatic experience that was in. And it was almost like a form of control for me in that sense. And that was, like, really, really scary. Like, I got down to too skinny.
Too small.
Too skinny.
Yeah.
And now I'm, like, trying to find that healthy balance between, like, just living a lifestyle that feels better for me.
Right.
It feels good.
Right. And it's not about the size. It's about how you feel.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I get that. And that's something I'm trying to figure out too. And I think that's why I don't like talking about the fasting a lot, because it's not supposed to be a long-term solution. Yeah. And they actually released their own, like, episode of a podcast talking about this recently.
They? What is it?
It's The Fasting Method is the company, and they were talking about how you go through so, like, ups and downs with your weight and your fasting, and you feel like, okay, I need to do these long extended fasts, but then you fall off the wagon, you gain the weight back, and then it feels like you're always fasting, but you don't want to promote that to, if you have kids, to your kids. Like, that's you true. Don't want your kids to be like, why are you not eating again?
That's true.
Another day, mom's not eating weird, or your friends. And it's very much like not just, you know, your relationship with food, but what your peers around you are seeing. Yeah. And so that really resonated with me, because I, like, have struggled so much to lose the weight but keep it off. Yeah. I've lost the weight probably, like, 2 times now. I've never gotten down to, you know, like, what I was really wanting to be. And it's not even about a number. It's just how I look, how I feel, how my clothes fit. But then I gain it back. You know, the holidays happen, or vacations happen, bachelorette parties fucking happen.
Because she's at literally a bachelorette party every weekend of her life. Like, if anyone has more friends, like, I dare you to compete with how many. Like, your side hustle still needs to become to plan bachelorettes.
I know. I need to do it.
I can't.
And another wedding happened. And so it's just always something that I fall off the wagon. And so that's where I'm struggling, is, like, sticking with it, doing the fasting for the 3 to 6 months you're supposed to do it, and then maintaining.
I know, but then how do you do that? Like, is there a way that, like, you can still make lifestyle changes that they do teach you in the fasting method that's more sustainable, I guess, and not just kind of a way where they're like, you need to be doing these long fasts to drop the weight, but something that's more kind of, like, helps you feel comfortable with even where you're at right now. Like, I think that it's also very important that, like, people understand, like, methods and things, like, don't work for everyone and aren't for everyone.
100%.
You know, like, you have to do your own research. You have to do your own, like, exploration with figuring out a lifestyle change that works solely for you. 100%. And often it's not, like, a quick fix.
Copy paste.
It's literally, it's not copy paste. And it's not as simple as, like, let me take this drug, let me do this, let me get this surgery. Because a lot of the times, like, even with some of my clients, they'll drop weight, but then it's still like they have a mental struggle internally that they're navigating as well.
Yeah, I get that. It's hard. And there are ways that the fasting method teaches, you know, once you lose the weight, it's about not snacking. Eating more raises your insulin. Yeah. So that's where, like, the insulin resistance comes from. And so you have to learn those. You eat in, like, your eating windows. And I think the biggest thing was like learning that bodybuilders or like gym rats or whoever who eat 5-6 meals a day. I think I saw an article the other day that said, oh no, you should actually be eating 10 small meals a day. I was like, this is insane. Why is it like, I don't understand.
No.
Yeah. And so that's not going to work for you. I've tried it all. I literally have tried it all. I did a meal plan. I did all these things. Nothing has worked except for this and eating clean, like just learning what your body likes and doesn't like.
Right.
And
do you ever feel like you kind of like we have to kind of accept like maybe this is what our bodies are supposed to be like?
Right.
You know, instead of trying to always attain this like level of a weight goal or of a pant size or 100%. Of something like that, and instead like just try to figure out ways to work with where our body is at now to find more peace. You know, it makes me kind of mad that we got to such a place of body positivity, body acceptance, body just like existing. It doesn't even need a fucking label, okay? It doesn't need to be body positivity. It doesn't need to be anything like, you know, let's embrace this thing.
Yeah,
like,
we're just living.
Can we just fucking live? Can we just exist? Can we just exist as we are right now? Like, why does it have to be, like, labeled as something? Right. And I actually think that that's where the society went wrong with that whole, like, moment we had.
Yeah,
until we backtracked to where we are now.
Right. No, I think that's true. I think that's a good point because everybody's different. Yes. I have found myself looking at, you know, influencers I follow or whoever. There was one girl I followed who had kind of a similar body type to ours. And then she's a big weightlifter, which I like that, but it's not nearly as much as I couldn't do how much she does. Right. And so she dropped all this weight and toned up and is so, like, fit and, like, just very muscular. Yeah. And, like, there was a day where I was like, oh, I feel like if I worked hard enough, I could get my body to be like that. Yeah. But, like, I shouldn't be saying that. Exactly. My body is not her body. Right. We are two completely different people. Yeah. Like, we have completely different lifestyles. And so you have to catch yourself and be like, I am who I am. And like you said, it's about just, like, existing.
It's existing. Yeah. A lot of it also comes with healing, like, and growing a confidence within yourself and determining, okay, what does confidence mean? And I think that we would all be lying completely to ourselves if we said that we didn't care about what we looked like on the outside.
Oh, 100%.
I think that even we said it. It's all about how you feel. Yes. Okay. 120 million% too. But I think that, like, people need to also be real with themselves, that we grew up, like, caring about what we look like.
Yeah. But feeling also has to do with looking in the mirror. You look in the mirror and you get a feeling.
Yes. Exactly.
So, you know, and there are some people who maybe, like, aren't the skinniest, but they look in the mirror and they feel damn good about themselves.
Exactly. And you can see it.
Right.
Because they feel it internally.
Exactly.
Inside. Yeah. Like, I've been doing this, like, new workout routine. Right. As you know. And, like, my body hasn't changed a lot. Like, my booty looks a little bit higher. Okay, like, I'm not going to complain about that.
But, we love that.
You know, but I'm not doing it to, like, drop pounds anymore. I'm not, like, on that mindset where I'm like, oh my God, everyone's, like, on Ozempic. I have to get stick fucking thin and reach this weight. But, like, I feel better and, you know, like, and we're having a lot more better sex because I feel just more confident, not just because, like, I told myself I'm going to stick with this program and keep this promise to myself and do it. I think that also builds confidence way more than anything else, is when you're able to keep like a really cool consistency doing the things that, like, fuel your mind, your body, and your soul.
It makes such a difference. The last few, like, months was so bad about going to the gym. Yeah. As I mentioned before, I was eating horribly around the holidays.
Yeah, as we all did.
Right. And so, and I was just feeling bad, not confident, which led to me not being able to show up to my partner in terms of, like, intimacy. Yeah. And recently, finally, the last few weeks, I'm like, okay, I need to get back in the gym. Starting so simple, incline walking on the treadmill.
Perfect.
But it has made such a difference. Like, you just feel better in everything. Like,
I know.
It's wild.
You need it. It's like humans weren't hardwired to, like, sit at our desks for 8 hours a day doing nothing.
Right.
It's like, I don't know if anyone watched the show on Netflix talking about like the blue zones and like the happiest places on earth, or like where the individuals live the longest and like have the most like live until like their hundreds or whatever. And one of the things was the food that you put into your body. I mean, I think that we can talk for freaking hours about like
the crap.
Like the poison.
Yeah. Straight poison.
It sounds insane. Like, listen, your girl's not about to turn down some French fries and like eat whatever the fuck I want to eat.
Right.
But I am a lot more conscious about the ingredients that I do put into my body.
Right.
Because like I feel like literal shit.
Oh.
Like if you don't understand what's in your food, why are we eating it?
Right. Exactly. If you cannot read all the ingredients.
Yes. What are we doing?
Right.
Now, I'm not like super strict, but I'm getting stricter.
The hardest part is the more strict or the more aware you are. I don't want to say strict, I guess, but like the more conscious you are of what you put in your body, the better choices you're going to make. So you're going to feel better. Yeah. And then when you do eat bad food, you feel like shit.
Yeah, you notice a difference.
So then, I guess it then creates like good habits, but it's hard because you want to treat yourself, but then you just feel so bad when you do. But usually, sometimes it's worth it.
I don't even feel bad when I do.
Like physically.
Oh, well, duh.
Stomach cramps, like the bloating.
Yeah, I've never related more to a crew neck that said my tummy hurts.
Right, exactly.
Like, every day I'm like, Anthony, my tummy hurts.
Yeah,
my tummy hurts. But that's why people also say when they go to other countries, they feel so much better. Because it's not full of like toxic poison ingredients
sugar
that we're putting in.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I've stuck to like a few of my fave brands for eating more clean. The Siete brands.
Oh yeah,
obsessed.
Yeah, the best.
They have such good stuff, and it tastes good. Like I'm still eating cookies and chips and stuff that I want to eat.
Oh yeah,
you know. Also, what's the other one? Simply Mills is really good.
Simply Mills. Primal Kitchen for sauces. We are big sauce girlies.
Big sauce.
Big sauce.
Need the sauce variety.
Except their salad dressings have been doing weird things lately.
Really?
Yeah, and Mom also talked about this with me. So Tessemae's
is, their ranch is top tier for healthy ranches.
Yeah, but Primal Kitchen buffalo sauce is my favorite. Yeah.
I think that like maybe in the body of this episode we need to share pages like Whole30 buffalo chicken dip
recipe.
My god,
yeah. It's so good. So good.
So good.
People don't know it's healthy until I tell them.
Right?
Yeah.
We also like we're working together to compile a list of all of the like pop culture celebs that have admitted they were on Ozempic. I don't know how I feel about them admitting it and then just proudly, I don't know, what do you think?
I don't know. I struggle with it. Like, if you're on it, admit it. Thank you for at least doing that.
Right.
I think I'm frustrated with what it's caused for the people who actually need the drug.
I know.
Who are diabetic or pre-diabetic. Again, I'm not a doctor. I cannot explain the things as well as probably the doctors can, but I know that it is creating a shortage and it is hurting people who don't have the funds to pay for it, and that upsets me.
I know.
And these celebrities are just taking advantage of that. And if you're using Ozempic to lose 5 pounds,
you guys,
you don't need to lose 5 pounds.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's just called period bloat.
Exactly. Or like go in a sauna. I don't know. I don't know. I think that like we just really need to stop. I mean, we're making a whole episode about it, but I think that everyone needs to stop obsessing about, how do I even say it?
The numbers of it all.
The numbers, being stick thin, following the crowd.
Yeah.
Right?
Peer pressure. Because I have seen, like, when we were trying to, like, make our list of, like, hey, who we know is on this, someone admitted, I think it was Terry Dubrow, all my clients are using it. I just wanted to see what the hype was about, essentially. Like, I wanted to know. Like, you're a doctor. It's like, yeah, I guess using it, you're going to be able to explain probably in the best way what it is like. But again, everybody's different.
Oh, my God. But also, like, isn't he a plastic surgeon?
Yes. Yes.
Why is he doing plastic surgery and then putting his clients on Ozempic?
And then going on it himself.
Oh, my God.
I don't understand.
Maybe that just explains that, like, everyone's insecure.
Right. That's true. It's true. Everyone is. But where does it end? Like, where
does it end? Because it makes me really sad to see even, like, you know, creators kind of like Remy Bader, who I love. I love the way she started her career. I think that was so needed. Someone trying on clothes that we all buy every single freaking day of our lives and actually being realistic about it. And then people tearing her down for, like, how she looks now. And awful. That just makes me extremely mad. Like, why can't we just let people be who they are without judging from someone's body?
Right.
And then, like, why do we consistently judge our own bodies? Like, I will never fully understand that, because I can sit here and teach confidence and
all day long.
Body positivity, like acceptance, all these different, like, phrases that people just, like, regurgitate and, like, shove down our throats. But, like, at the end of the day, I really do think that it just comes down to, like, having to make peace with yourself.
100%. And it takes so much time. You might not even ever fully get to 100%.
I know.
I don't think.
I don't think so either. But I think that it starts with having realistic conversations.
Yeah. I think so too. And I think, to go back to your point about Remy Bader, it's sad too, because she is such a transparent, like, part of, like, the internet. Yeah. And people to use that against her is just awful.
It's just so, I don't know. I think that, first of all, everyone just needs to stay in their own lane when it comes to, like, how, I don't know, maybe we're not even staying in our own lane when we're judging people for using Ozempic, but I don't even know. I think that it's just so many fine lines.
Right. But I don't know. Like, yeah, it's a little bit of judgment, but at the same time, I think the biggest, like, point we're trying to make is maybe just admit it.
Yeah.
Or just, like, be more cognizant. Or if you do want to use it to lose the weight, then, like, use it and then go off of it. Like, do what you're actually supposed to do.
I know. Like, I know that Claudia Oshry admitted that, well, it took her a long time to admit it.
Yeah, a year.
It took her a long time. And she was asked countless times.
Yeah.
And she denied it. And I remember you and I even had a conversation. I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
You did.
And you're like, no. She said she's not.
Did I say that about her?
And then
she came out and
she said that she was,
Yeah. I honestly, like, I have not, so I've followed her for a while. I recently restarted paying attention to her content after all the weight loss.
Yeah.
So when you brought that up, I was like, oh, I looked back.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow, she lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
It's hard, right? Like, when are you supposed to talk about it?
I don't know.
But I do think she should have said something sooner.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
I know. Because then people are like, oh, wow, why is it so hard for me?
Right.
Why can't I do it?
Right.
You know, when all these other people make it look so easy.
Yeah, that is one thing that really upsets me, because if you're not admitting it and you're dropping all this weight, other, like, people seeing your stuff is going to be like,
what's wrong with me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why can't I do it? Why am I not that skinny? Why didn't I lose weight in a month?
Yes. Oh my God. The unrealistic expectations on timing too. Mm-hmm. That stuff will make it happen like this. Mm-hmm. It's the whole point of it. But, like, think about, like, when you've really committed to something. Like, think about when you've really wanted to do something for yourself. Like, healing from a breakup. Mm-hmm. I don't freaking know. Like, building a freaking house. This stuff takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. And I think that we live in such a world of the instant gratification.
Right.
With everything. With our relationships, with how we feel about ourselves, with that weight loss. Mm-hmm. Like, if it doesn't happen right away, we don't want to put in the work to, like, actually do things the right way. We just want, like, the quick fix.
And I think there's so many parts of society nowadays that we get instant gratification from. Yeah. That now it just bleeds into these types of these parts of our lives, like weight loss. And,
like, if my Uber takes longer than, like, 30 minutes to bring me my food, I'm like,
right.
What's wrong?
Right. Right. Or even, like, you're using a new beauty like cream or something, and you're like, why isn't my skin flawless after the first use? Because the girl who was advertising it is perfect skin.
Yep.
I just heard on a show, like, this model was 16 and she was in the Maybelline commercials advertising the anti-aging cream. 16.
What aging? What are we advertising here? 16. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I saw, actually, that you mentioned that with the skincare stuff too, the instant gratification, because this girl was like trying to fix her skin on TikTok, and she was like trying all these different remedies. Mm-hmm. She tried like a bunch of different freaking remedies, and someone in the comments was like, girl, you have to give the one that you're trying time. It takes at least like 6 weeks to try and figure something out. Like, but we're just bopping around and buying new shit and consuming and buying material things, whether it's makeup, whether it's our 20 fucking step skincare routine. You guys, like,
hard pass. I can't.
No, I use 2-3 things now.
Right.
I use like a Korean oil thing.
Ooh.
And then like a CeraVe cleanser.
The best. Yeah.
Double cleanse. Actually wash your face.
Right.
Wash.
Right.
And then a Korean moisturizer, and I call it a fucking day.
And you're good.
Yeah.
And I was giving into the TikTok of it all. Yeah. I was like, oh, I need that. I need that. And then I'm like, wait a second, what am I doing?
No.
Wasting all my money.
On Sephora, and Sephora,
so back to the basics.
Yes. Internal.
Yeah. It's hard. The instant gratification is really tough, and I think the Ozempic is just proving that.
It's just like started this spiral of like, whoa, I thought we were done with this.
Right.
I thought we were done with this.
Right. And I will say, to play devil's advocate, it's probably hard for the celebrities out there, if there are any, who are losing weight.
Yeah.
Which I think I saw someone posted that, they quoted, no, I'm just in the gym. 50 Cent. It was 50 Cent. He's like, no, I'm just in the gym.
They love 50.
So you got to feel bad, right? Like, if you are actually doing this on your own, naturally, you're losing weight, and you're not getting that type of recognition, that sucks.
Yeah, and people are just making the assumptions that, like, you're on it. I mean,
I did
it with, who'd you say, Jaclyn Hill?
Yeah.
Who's been very upfront and honest. And I was like, are you sure? And you're like, she would have said.
Right.
She would have said.
I also saw Christina Aguilera on the Grammys looking real skinny. I didn't know she had a Vegas residency now. Found out after.
Kind of exciting. I want to
go. Me too. Literally same, please. I know. But I saw her and I'm like, oh, it's giving Ozempic, but who knows?
It's just where our brains go now.
Yeah.
That's where our brains go
now.
now.
And it's really sad.
I know. But I think that it'll die down eventually.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But until then, what we need to be doing instead is not like investing in the 20 million skincare routines, not doing anything like that. It's kind of like investing in the things that make you feel good within yourself, like healing any body image stuff that we've got going on in our brains that we tell ourselves, and maybe stop labeling everything as like body positivity. Let's embrace the plus size, I don't know. I think that there just needs to be kind of like a whole mental mindset shift of like, can we just exist?
And I think that's a good point, because I think if you're doing work on your body, you do want people to notice.
Yes,
it's great. I will say, as I was talking about before, like, I have gone through like weight fluctuations in the last 3 years. When I was, at a lower weight and people would call it out, did it feel good? Of course. But when it becomes the only thing people talk about to your face, or when they first see you and they're like, wow, you look so good. It's like, well, what did I look like before? 2 years ago? Like, that I think is another thing that probably everyone can do better. Yes. I'm definitely guilty of it. I know people who have said things to me about my weight loss before are guilty of it.
Yeah.
Don't comment on someone's body. No. It's not your business. You don't know what they're going through. Oh my God, you don't know if they actually do have an eating disorder or anything. You don't know if they have a sickness or an illness, like anything. So I think that's another aspect of it. Is just trying, and obviously we're here talking about it, but to bring these points
to the surface that everyone thinks about. I think that these are all things that everyone thinks about, because I think that like kind of like how I talked about Taylor Swift being shoved down our throats, I also feel like Ozempic is being shoved down everybody's throat and being super skinny. And then it's like making everyone compare themselves to this level that we should not be comparing ourselves to. And sure, I agree. Maybe someone is struggling and they're not on Ozempic. But I do think that since Ozempic has become such of a topic, the topic, and there's commercials and stuff, I think that it does need to be talked about. I think that, like, it just needs to be said at the end of the day, like, how it's affecting people's mindsets and making the assumptions that everyone is on it and or isn't on it and or should be on it or whatever the hell it is.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. And I feel like there were commercials for it before celebrities were on Ozempic, but you don't pay attention to those annoying prescription commercials, like, oh, the symptoms or the, like, what could happen to you if you take this. You just laugh about it because they list, like, everything deadly, basically. Yeah. And now that celebrities are on Ozempic, you actually notice the Ozempic commercials. It's just another, like, way to get to your head.
I know. So I think that maybe the solution lies in, we're never going to be able to change society.
Right.
And how they try and, like, make everybody feel a certain type of way. So I think that, honestly, the solution just lies in us learning how to accept ourselves where we are. And then if we don't feel good with where we are, we just take the necessary steps to just do things that feel good for us. Whether it's just kind of like eating different foods, moving your body more often, because we aren't really programmed to be sitting at our desks all freaking day long. Yeah. And more just like intuitively paying attention to yourself instead of paying attention to a number. Because when you feel good inside, I don't know, I feel like it radiates on the outside.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I know that for a fact. You notice, and it helps with everything. Like, over the holidays when we're all eating like shit, we feel like shit. I know. You know, like, not only is it the winter and we're just, like, bummed about the weather, but then you're eating bad, your skin is probably gonna, like, be more dry, break out more, and then you're just gonna, like, dwell on those things.
I know. And I wanted to bring this up. I know that it's been a minute we've been talking, but, like, also I think that a lot of, like, people's body image struggles, like, stem from also kind of, like, parents.
Yes.
Because, like, as we were speaking, I was like, Mom's going to listen to this, but she's talked a lot about weight. Yeah. And every time we see someone, she comments on their weight.
Every time.
Every single time.
And I've told you how I, like, feel about that. Yeah. You know, like, when you are going through a journey, or when, you know, I'm going through a journey, and that's the first thing she says to me, it's like, okay.
I know. Like, we have other things to talk about. Right. But I think that that's also, a lot of it stems from her own struggles. Yeah. With what she went through because of her own mom. And,
yeah, that's true.
You know, like, her and I talked about doing our own episode on kind of, like, what that feels like. But this stuff is generational. Yeah. Like, and I think that it needs to be acknowledged, too. That the way you talk about your body, the way you treat your body, the way you treat yourself, like, your kids hear you.
100%.
And they see it. 100%. And they feel it. Yeah. Because, like, why is that such a topic of discussion? You know what I mean? And I think that we need to kind of just, like, make peace with.
Yeah. I have plenty of friends, too, that have struggled with that with their parents.
Really?
Yeah. I will not name names. Right. But many who, you know, their moms comment on their bodies are not anywhere near what their moms are. Yeah. And that's not fair. Like, you know, they can't compare. So,
because I think that it does stem down to how diet culture was such a thing, like, in the area of, like, when our parents were growing up.
Bulimia. Mom's roommate was bulimic.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Her roommate in college was bulimic.
See?
Yeah. So it's a rat, like...
Everything was a diet. It was a diet. Everything you saw on TV. Atkins diet. Weight Watchers diet. Diet. Like, oh my God. And, I mean, that could be a whole nother episode in itself. Like, generational trauma.
Yeah, exactly. No, really, though. It's true.
Oh, man. Okay, so what's your word of advice? Because you've been on this journey for a minute yourself. You know, and I think... Is it fair to say we're coming to a level of acceptance and trying to just do what feels good for you without doing drastic things for yourself? Or what's your advice?
Yeah. I mean, there is, like, I'm not going to lie and say I don't want to lose weight, but it's not it's not just wait to see a number on a scale for me anymore, which I think at one point it definitely was.
Yeah.
Like I had this number and I wanted to hit it.
Right.
But for me, it's getting to that weight where my clothes feel comfortable.
Yep.
I feel comfortable in my skin. I feel comfortable, you know, wearing the clothes I just want to wear.
And then
purely. Yeah. So I think my advice would be like, you have to go through the journey on your own, and like it's gonna take time, and like you can't, like right now I'm in a phase of like not getting upset for getting off track and just making sure that like you know the end goal. And my end goal is also my health. I had a lot of like symptoms of PCOS, which I've reversed through all this journey, which is
amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's me also just preparing for, you know, my future if and when I'm able to have kids. And that was one of my biggest like goals, is making sure that I am healthy enough to do that.
Yeah.
Because who knows when that would happen. And, you know, women already have underlying issues you just don't even know about. So I wanted to take control of the ones I could control.
Yeah. I think that's good.
So it's just about health, making sure the numbers are right. And I want to look and feel good in my clothes.
Right. And just like enjoying the journey to the best that you can.
Yeah.
Right. And understanding it is a journey.
It takes time.
Trial, tribulations. And it's just kind of like a journey the same way it is with any healing journey. We all are trying to just kind of do our best healing our perception of our bodies and our mindsets, and talk nicely to ourselves, which could be very, very hard.
Yeah.
It's like a constant battle that I think that we all face. And I think that we all need to be more honest with what's going on in people's minds, and, you know, I don't know, just have open conversations.
Yeah. And I think another piece of advice would just make sure you know that your journey is not going to be the same as someone else's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So unique to you.
Yeah.
All right. That was awesome. If you have questions, ask her. She's gone through a lot. If you also have questions about the fasting method and want to learn a little bit more about that, because it really did help her reverse her PCOS symptoms, and it has a lot of benefits. What's the handle?
I think just at the fasting method. They have a podcast too that you can listen. Yeah. All the details. Megan Ramos. She's amazing, smart, incredible person. Yeah. Awesome. We'll share the healthy buffalo.
Oh yeah. Recipe. Oh my God, I want it so bad. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Love you.